DreAllDay.com.
What up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. This video, I just want to we're gonna give a little overview of what's going on in the NBA season so far, because I did the season predictions, a lot of stuff I was talking about. So we're gonna do some updates on some things that's been going on in the league, go through, see what's happening with certain teams, certain players, etc. Because a lot of us had a lot of stuff to say before the season when things got going. So let's get right into it. First of all, I got the NBA standings right here in front of me. The Eastern Conference, man, it's crazy. The Pacers and the Heat, the only two good teams. The Pacers, I'm recording this on December 3rd. The games have not been played yet today, so whatever happens tonight is not part of this video. But on December 3rd, the Pacers just took their second loss to Portland last night. Miami's right there in that number 2 spot. And then after that, the next team, the Wizards, are 500. Then everybody else is under 500. So that means it's 8 playoff teams. So that means at least 5 playoff teams right now in the Eastern Conference not even over 500. That's crazy. So right now, the Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors would be 4th because they won their division. They don't actually have a 4th best record, but they won their division. They would have a home playoff series. The Wizards and the Raptors will have home playoff series right now, and neither of those teams is very good. The Wizards ain't bad. I actually like the Wizards. When I was in Europe a few months ago, I was defending John Wall like tooth and nail. This other American dude was just trying to trash John Wall, and I was defending John Wall, and this dude was trying to trash him. So I like seeing John Wall do his thing. It's messed up that they lost Beal when he got injured, because Beal might actually end up being a bigger star than John Wall in the long run. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that yet. But those two dudes together, they work real well together, because Beal's a good shooter, and John Wall, of course, he's the penetrator. He can get to the rim whenever he wants because he's so fast. Looking at the rest of the East, Toronto Raptors, I heard a few weeks ago they said Rudy Gay told his teammates that statistics are banned from the locker room. That made me laugh. A lot of sports writers who I follow on Twitter had a field day with that one, just because Rudy Gay, Rudy Gay's been a guy who's always, his analytics, like the advanced statistics that we all use now and know about, they don't make Rudy Gay look good. They make him look pretty bad, which is when I did my top 5 small forwards in the league before the season, I didn't put Rudy Gay in the top 5. A lot of people saying Rudy Gay, and I said, nah, I can't really put him in there. I mean, the Grizzlies was a playoff team last year, and they dumped him because they thought that would make them better for the playoffs. And I mean, they did pretty well without him. And the reason they actually traded him, because the guy, John Hollinger, who was one of my favorite, probably my second favorite writer on ESPN next to Bill Simmons, he got hired into the Grizzlies front office. And when they hired him, I think it was on his suggestion that they actually get rid of Rudy Gay, because he was never a big Rudy Gay fan. And the analytics that he wanted to give to the coaching staff, being Lionel Hollins, the old Grizzlies coach, about, hey, these are the lineups that are working for you, these are the combinations that work and don't work. Lionel Hollins didn't want to hear it, because he's looking at John Hollinger like this white guy. He's like, yo, you ain't never played ball ever in your life. I played in the NBA. Lionel Hollins saying this. I'm pretty sure he played in the NBA. I've been coaching. What are you going to tell me, about basketball? He didn't want to hear none of that analytical stuff. That's the reason why Lionel Hollins ain't the coach no more, for those of you who didn't know. But anyway, Toronto, I watched them play the Miami Heat, I think about a week ago. They're not a bad team. I mean, they got talent. Like, DeRozan is talented and Rudy Gay's talented. They kind of very similar players. And Kyle Lowry is another good player. Those 3 guys, when I watched that game against the Heat, the 3 of them was just taking turns taking bad shots. Off the dribble, pull-up jumpers, long 2-pointers, just bad shots, early in the shot clock shots. They were making some of them because, like I said, they got talent. I mean, Rudy Gay and DeRozan both going to get you 20 points a game. So 20 points a game in the NBA ain't nothing to sneeze at. I don't care how you get it. But they take so many bad shots, it's ridiculous. So I don't see them. They ain't going nowhere. I mean, they might make the playoffs. I don't think. Right now, they would play the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. The Hawks are not that bad of a team. I'll definitely put my money on the Hawks in that series, if that series was to take place today. On the Raptors, though, they do got the big guy, Valanciunas. I believe he is Lithuanian. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I like him. He is really big. He can go both ways with either hand. He's smooth and coordinated in his movements. Sometimes a big man is kind of stiff, but he's actually really good in his movements. I like him. He didn't get the ball at all. When they played the Heat, he wasn't even touching the ball. He wasn't getting no shots, nothing. It was like he wasn't even out there. So I know he wasn't like calling for the ball yet. He might not even have like the clout on that team to call for the ball with those three guys. Like DeRozan and Rudy Gay, they both guys, we call them gunners, guys who basically, what they're going to do is get you points. That's what they do. That's how they play. That's how they're going to play no matter what team you put them on, what situation. Those guys are going to try to put the ball in the basket. And Lowry, I wouldn't really call him a distributor, but he's a headstrong guy. So Valanciunas might not have found his voice yet on that roster, but he damn sure should have been getting the ball against the Heat, who don't have a legitimate quote-unquote big man to defend any other big man, as we saw in the Pacers series last year. Chris Bosh is big, but he's 6'10", but he's not a big guy. He's not a bulky guy who's going to bang. The Birdman is kind of big, but he's not really that bulky either. He's close to Chris Bosh's size. The only big man he got is Greg Oden, and he ain't even suiting up. You watch Heat games, you see Greg Oden over on the sideline with a suit on, so he's not even playing. So when you play the Heat, you got to bang inside, and if you got a good big man, like the Cavs I'm watching, they actually got the Cavs game on right now, a replay on NBA TV. You got to get a ball to bind them because the Heat ain't got nobody who can really guard them. You force them to double, you pass, you get open shots, etc., etc. But Valanciunas did not touch the ball when they played the Heat, which was funny to me. Now we got Atlanta's just been a middling team for the last like 5 years. They're not terrible, but they're not great. They're not contenders. They're not going to be a lottery team. They're going to make the playoffs, but they ain't going to really make no noise. Maybe win a series, maybe not. I mean, they're like a ho-hum team. I mean, nothing exciting about them. The Bobcats, I'm not interested, but it's interesting to see that they're in the playoff hunt. Chicago's in 7th place, Detroit's in 8th. Chicago Bulls, man. Derrick Rose injures his knee again, so he gets injured twice. Different knees, right? This is a different knee this time. So he blew out his left knee, I believe, and this time he hurt his right knee. And, I mean, it ain't really nothing else to say about it. Somebody asked me what do I think he's going to do. I mean, he's going to come back. What else is he going to do? Quit? I don't think he's going to quit. He's going to come back. He's going to make another return. Hopefully he doesn't get injured again. We can't say. We don't know that much about injuries right now. Like, when I say we, I mean we as sports people. Like, people think you can't really predict what's going to injure a player. Once we know that, then we can certain things can happen, certain precautions can be made. We can make certain measurements, like, oh, if you play this many minutes, you might get injured. Like when Kobe got hurt last year, a lot of people were saying he got injured because D'Antoni played him too many minutes, but we don't know that. Like last night, as I'm recording this again, is December 3rd. Last night, Chicago and New Orleans played triple overtime. Luol Deng played 55 minutes. Ryan Anderson played 57 minutes. And then, the normal game is 48 minutes. So we don't know, and neither one of them's injured. They're going to play their next games, and hopefully they don't get injured either. We don't know what exactly causes an injury. We don't know if playing so much causes an injury, certain movements cause an injury. We don't know. And injuries can happen any different ways. They're accidents, pretty much, like a car accident. So hopefully Derrick Rose comes back full strength again. I do think he'll be back. As far as the Chicago Bulls, I mean, Chicago's not a threat without Derrick Rose. I mean, the Eastern Conference, can they win a series? Yeah, right now they're the 7th seed, so they play the Heat. They wouldn't win that series. And they're not beating the Pacers. But if they play anybody between the 3rd and 8th seed, they get to play against any one of them, they can win. No doubt in my mind. But I don't know what Chicago's going to do, if they're going to tank, if they're going to make a trade. Since they ain't got Derrick Rose, they got a high payroll, so we'll see what happens with the Bulls. The rest of the Eastern Conference, anybody worth talking about? Cleveland Cavaliers, what's going on there? I mean, ain't no injuries. Andrew Bynum's there. I mean, he don't play every game. He plays some games, and he plays a lot the next game. I have no idea what exactly his status is. Kyrie Irving's been out there playing full speed. They got everybody else. They got Tristan Thompson, who was a top 5 pick. Deion Waiters was a top 5 pick. Jared Jack was almost 6 man. He was a 6 man of the year candidate last year. Mike Brown, they just gave him a 5-year deal. Like, he's a big time coach. Kyrie's an all-star. one of the best point guards out there. Andrew Bynum is one of the best big men out there, even though he don't play that much. They got the #1 pick in Bennett, who's been terrible. I don't know. I don't watch college ball, so I didn't know nothing about dude when he got drafted, so I don't know if that was a good pick or a bad pick, but right now he's not looking too good. That's all I can say about that. But as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers team, they 5-12. I have no idea what's going on there. I'm sure a shakeup is coming. They got to make a trade or something. I don't know who or what or when, but something got to happen with them because they're just not a good basketball team right now, and that's all you can say. The Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks. Speaking of Cleveland, Cleveland got a better record than both of those teams. And Brooklyn, the Jason Kidd spilling the soda thing was funny, but Brooklyn, I don't know. I haven't watched the full Brooklyn game this year. They actually beat the Heat at the beginning of the season. It was like the Heat's second game. I think it was Brooklyn's first game because the Heat lost to the Sixers, and then they lost to Brooklyn. So Brooklyn was, I guess it was exciting for them to win that first game. They got KG, they got Paul Pierce. Jason Terry, I don't really consider him to be that big of a factor, but they got him. Darren Williams been injured, so that might play a role. I think he's their second best guy, of course, to Brook Lopez, who's a center who's going to get you 20 points a game. He can't rebound, but he'll get you 20 points. So who knows what's going on with them. And the New York Knicks is just a catastrophe. I have no idea if they could do anything because they ain't really got no draft picks coming up. They don't have any cap space. The guy they need to get rid of the most is Amari because he makes so much money. It's not that he's a terrible player, but he ain't the player he was when they gave him what they gave him. He's not worth that anymore, but they can't trade him because nobody's going to take the trade because the guy, who knows what his knees is worth. So the Knicks, all you New York Knicks fans, I don't know what to say. I'll just say I'm sorry. I'm just saying I'm sorry now because y'all in for a long season over there. Western Conference, damn, everybody's good in the Western Conference. Portland, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Clippers, Houston. We'll say that top 5. Then you got Dallas, Denver, Dallas, Golden State. All 8 teams got at least 10 wins already. Those 8 teams that I just mentioned. Portland surprised everybody. I never really paid much attention to Portland. I didn't watch a single Portland game all last year except when they played the Heat. And I haven't watched one yet this year. The Spurs right there with them. Oklahoma City, we know their story. They got Westbrook. They got KD. Y'all know what they bringing to the table. The LA Clippers, Blake Griffin. A lot of people, when I put out that Blake Griffin, quote-unquote, defense of Blake Griffin video, a lot of people was trying to trash him. Blake Griffin's actually playing better now than he was playing when I made the video. He's averaging 21 and 11.5 rebounds right now. He's doing really well. Hitting his jump shots. His defense has improved slightly. He's getting it done. I mean, Blake Griffin is an all-star. He's a legitimate all-star. Him and Kevin Love, the 2 best power forwards. I got to give Kevin Love the nod as the #1 guy, definitely. I gave him that before. Minnesota's actually only 9-10. At 9-10, Minnesota would actually be the 5th seed in the East. Right now, they're not even in the playoffs in the Western Conference. So hopefully they get some wins. I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see what they can do. What else is going on in the Western Conference? The Lakers not doing bad. Everybody thought, not everybody, I'll just say me, thought the Lakers was going to be just horrible without Kobe. And even with Kobe, I didn't think they was going to be that great. I thought they could squeak into the playoffs with Kobe, but they 9-9 without him. As of today, December 3rd, they said he might come back on Friday to play against Sacramento. So maybe by the time you've seen this video, he did come back. But the Lakers have surprised a lot of people. They got talented players, and players are playing hard, playing well. Pau Gasol hasn't been that great. That's disappointing to see. I think Powell just might be on the downside of his career, or he's just not that excited about his situation because he was good when they was making their runs to the finals, but he's been diminished the last couple of seasons, and D'Antoni's not the right coach for him. D'Antoni like to do all this up and down. Pau Gasol is a guy you get a ball on the block, let him go to work. He's good doing that, but he ain't really getting that much opportunity here because D'Antoni wants to do his run and gun thing no matter what his roster is. That's the way he wants to play, which I don't agree with, but hey, he's the coach. They hired him, so I guess that's just what you got to work with. OKC, we said the Clippers, Houston, Denver started out kind of slow, but they actually playing well now with new coach Brian Shaw. I've always liked Brian Shaw. I wonder why the Lakers didn't hire him. He was under Phil Jackson all those years. They didn't even give him a chance to be the coach. And then when he went to the Pacers, he got passed over a few times for head coaching job, so he got one now, and the team's looking good so far. Dallas, Monte Ellis has been playing very well. I remember when I made my two-guard video, I didn't mention him. A lot of people said, yo, you should put Monte Ellis. And, you know, I pointed to the same thing with him that I did with Rudy Gay. Look at his analytics. He's not good analytically. Like, the raw stats, he's great. He puts up 20 points. So 20 points, like I said, 20 points in the NBA is something. I don't care how you do it. But his analytics didn't look that good. His shooting percentages, he was actually the worst jump shooter, 2-point jump shooter in the whole NBA last year. You can look that stat up. But this year he's playing a lot better. His efficiency's up, and Dallas is doing well. So shout out to Monte Ellis. He would be in the top 5 now if I made a new top 5 list. I might do one at like halfway through the season. We'll see. A new list of each position just based on how everybody's playing this season. Dallas, who else? Golden State. Golden State's only 10-8. I mean, Iguodala's been injured. I think he's like the linchpin for that team, really. He's the guy who ties everything together. Defensively, he can hit jumpers. He can play the point when you need him to. He can drive to the hole. He can get it out in transition. He's like that everything glue guy type of dude. Of course, you got Stephen Curry, who is becoming a superstar. Bogut, when he's healthy and playing, he's a great defensive anchor. But they really need Iguodala in there to tie everything together. Harrison Barnes also, and Klay Thompson, 2 young star players. Hopefully they can keep that team together, because in a couple of years they're going to have to pay Harrison Barnes and they're going to have to pay Klay Thompson. Stephen Curry's already getting paid. They got Bogut on the deal, and they got to pay, and they still got to keep paying Iguodala. So we'll see what happens with that team in the future. Right now, they only the 8th seed, so hopefully they start to play better. Because if they the 8th seed, they play Portland in the first round, they taking the L right there. San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Clippers, I think they lose to all 4 of those teams. I think Golden State, when I did my season preview, I said I didn't even mention Portland, but I said it was 5 teams. The Spurs, Thunder, Clippers, Houston, Golden State. Those 5 teams, only 4 could go past the first round. So one of those teams is going to have a disappointing season because they're going to lose in the first round. Right now, it's looking like Golden State is one of them, and now it's going to be another because Portland, if they keep playing the way they're playing, Portland just jumped into the conversation. They got the best record in the West, tied with San Antonio right now. So only 4 teams can advance past the first round. Right now, Houston's in the 5th spot. They've had injuries, though. Jeremy Lin been out. James Harden's been out. He's back now. I think Jeremy Lin is still out. A lot of people was trying to trash Jeremy Lin. I have no idea why. Jeremy Lin could put the ball in the basket. I don't know if people thought what he did with the Knicks when he had his little insanity run was a fluke. Ain't no fluke to average 25 points a game for a month in the NBA. That ain't no fluke. Now, you might not be able to do it for your whole career, but it ain't no fluke to average 25 points in the NBA. That's the best league in the world. So Jeremy Lin can score. He's not the defender that Pat Beverly is, which is why they took him out the starting lineup. But overall, if I had to pick a player between the two, I'm picking Jeremy Lin. I think he's the better player than Beverly. Beverly's a better defender, but overall, looking at their whole games, weighing everything, I'm going to go with Jeremy Lin. But that's neither here nor there. That's a whole other video. The bottom of the Western Conference, New Orleans just lost Anthony Davis, who is a player who I really like. He would be moving into my top 5 power forwards list if I was to do another list today. He broke his hand. They didn't say how long he's out for. Hopefully he's not out for long because he should be an all-star this year the way he's playing. He's one of them dudes that just fills up the stat sheet. He's going to get you like 20 points, 8, 9, 10 rebounds. He get blocks. He gets steals. He even can pass. He gets some assists. And his offensive game is very raw. He don't really do nothing especially on offense. Like, he's not a great shooter. He's not a great post-up guy. He's not a great ball handler. He's not great at anything offensively except catching them alley-oops and running in transition. Like I said, he fills the stat sheet, and he's only like 20 years old. So this dude is on his way up. I'm saying it now, but that ain't really no big prediction. Memphis is 8-8. They in the middle of the pack. They lost Marc Gasol. They gonna need him if they gonna make the playoffs. So, and they said he's out for a month or something like that. So they need him back, or they gonna miss the playoffs. Sacramento, Utah. Well, we know Utah is tanking. Sacramento, I have no idea what they're doing. When I did the centers video, I didn't put in DeMarcus Cousins, and a bunch of people said get DeMarcus Cousins. I know DeMarcus Cousins has talent. I know this. I'm not we're not even discussing the dude's talent. We know he got talent. He's a top 5 in terms of talent center in the league, but you never know what you're going to get out the guy. He gets all kinds of ridiculous technical fouls, flagrant fouls. Some of them are based on his reputation, but he also does some crazy stuff. He be yelling at his teammates a lot when he's not getting the ball, especially when they lose, and they do a good amount of losing. And you know, all that plays into being a top 5. You can't just automatically throw somebody in the top 5 when their team's got the 2nd worst record in the Western Conference. It's not that simple. If he's that good, his team has to be producing. Even if they're not winning every game, I understand. Even when you're great, team's not always going to win. I mean, Michael Jordan's teams was barely squeaking into the playoffs when he was averaging 30 early in his career. So it's not always about just winning the games, but at least be in the conversation, at least be losing close games. The Sacramento Kings just be getting killed, and they're not even in the conversation. They're all cakewalk type team. They play hard some games and win, but for the most part, they're a team that you're going to beat. So I think Cousins, if he's going to be top 5, his team got to start producing, and he got to cut out all the extracurricular bullshit with his teammates and with his opponents and with the refs. He need to cut all that shit up. So that's it. As far as the teams go, let's see if we can talk about anything individually. Statistically, let's see if I can pull up the stats here. Right now, oh yeah, of course, if we're looking at the MVP candidacy, you got to talk about how Paul George has come up. Paul George has come up ridiculously. He's definitely, when I did my small forwards, I put him number 3. He's still number 3, despite the leap he's made. It's still 2 dudes ahead of him, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. I don't think anybody can argue that he's better than either one of them. But he's damn sure. He might be the 3rd best player in the whole NBA. I got to put Chris Paul up there too. But if somebody wanted to say he's number 3 in the whole league, I couldn't really argue with that. I can definitely understand that. He's come up. He's the best player on the Pacers, who got a hell of a team right now. If they stay healthy, them against the Heat is going to be a hell of a battle, but I'm still going with the Heat. As long as LeBron's healthy and the rest of those guys are there, I'm still going with the Heat. Who else up there? Kevin Love is back healthy. He's dominating, leading the league in rebounding. Like I said, Anthony Davis leading the league in blocks. Chris Paul started the season off, broke Magic Johnson's record of assists in, double-digit points and assists streak to start the season. I think the streak was 11. I think the record was 11 and he did 12, or it was 10 and he did 11. I don't remember what the number is, but y'all get the point. Having at least 10 points, 10 assists in every game to start the season, he broke the record for consecutive games doing that. Chris Paul is fun to watch. John Wall's up there in assists. Like I said, I'm glad to see John Wall doing his thing. Field goal percentage. LeBron James is 2nd in the league in field goal percentage. Usually the field goal percentage category is led by big men because all they shoot is close-in shots. Like number 1 is Drummond from Detroit. Damn near every shot he takes is a dunk or a little baby hook. DeAndre Jordan, Boris Diaw, Dwight Howard. Those are the other guys in the top 5. LeBron's shooting 59.8%, which is ridiculous. And I watch damn near every Heat game. He shoots jump shots. He shoots threes. He shoots fadeaways. Man, the way he's just the best player. I mean, we ain't got to keep talking about LeBron. Everybody already knows what he can do. Michael Carter-Williams of the Sixers, he's having a great year right now. He is definitely Rookie of the Year. When I did my predictions, I picked Oladipo, and I think he's probably number 2 right now as far as Rookie of the Year. And a lot of people, like a week into the season, a bunch of people left comments on the video talking about, oh, it's going to be Carter-Williams. Like, no, it's not a prediction if you wait till the game start and then you just name somebody. Like, if I said such going to lead the league in scoring, the guy comes out averaging 40, and you say him, that don't count. You got to say it before the season. So that's that. I'm going to stop talking now. We almost up to 25 minutes. Those are my impressions so far the NBA season. You got anything to add? Definitely leave it down here in the comments. Get a discussion going. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Oh yeah, get them shirts. DreAllDay.com/shirts. Work on your game.
Listen to me. I can't say it enough. Not only work on your game, perfect your craft. It's your craft. It don't belong to nobody else. Nobody else is responsible for it. You can do, you can be, you can have whatever you want. So for real, work on your game.